Hi, I'm Miranda, and I'm going to talk to you today about auditioning from a producing perspective while I drink just a little, while I drink some wine. I'm going to talk to you about auditioning for a play that you're producing. Lots of different ways that you can do it. This is what I like to do. This is what I have learned to do through a lot of trial and error. As the producer, I set up the audition, and once I'm in the room, I have the director, and the director is the one who runs the auditions. You sit there and you keep your mouth shut, unless you're friendly, and then you share notes and you pass them to each other, about the actors, of course. What you're not going to do, you can do it two different ways. You can have monologues, or you can have what they call sides. Monologue is just a chunk of monologue, chunk of speech taken from a play, and the actor comes in and does it. Don't do that. Don't do monologues. Don't choose to have the actor do a monologue, because basically, who the fuck wants to act in a vacuum? It doesn't serve them, it doesn't serve you, and you can't really see what they can do. And they're coming in with material that you don't really know. No. You're going to do sides. Sides are pages of the script, usually from the play that you've decided to do, and you can either have the actor receive them in advance and come in prepared, or you can do what I really like, which is called a cold read. It's exactly how it sounds. The actor comes in, they pick up the sides of the script then and there, they look at it, and they come in and they read it cold. As an actor, that's what I really like to do, because you get to rely on your instincts, and as the producer or the director, as the one doing the casting, you get to see an actor make decisions in the moment and think on their feet. And if the director likes them enough to say, hey, let me give you an adjustment. Instead of doing it this way, try this. It really allows you to see how amenable and directable and smart the actor is. So I would say cold reads are great, and sides, no fucking monologues. Now, if you're using union actors versus non-union actors, it makes a little bit of a difference with regard to where in the season your play falls. If you're doing something in November or December, you're going to have so many more people available to walk through the door than you are if you're holding auditions in May or June, because everything has already been cast for summer stock. Or regional theaters that start their seasons in May, actors have been hired in January, February, and they're already away. So the pickings are going to be a lot more slim the more into summer that you go. Does that make sense? I think it makes sense. You have to be prepared for no-shows. And what I would suggest is, if this is not your first rodeo, instead of having an open call, which can be fucking hoi polloi, pell-mell, don't do that. You're going to have appointments. And you can post on Backstage, which I think is a little bit passé these days. You can post on Craigslist. You're going to either get a bunch of no-shows or a bunch of really interesting people. I use Breakdown Express, and Breakdown Express feeds into Actors Access. So I, as the producer, will say, I'm casting a play called St. Francis. St. Francis, summary, characters, character description, blah, 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 blah. Now, if I'm an actor and I go onto Actors Access, I'm going to see, oh, St. Francis, what an interesting project. Because, all my stuff is interesting. I'm going to submit myself for that. And as the producer, you look on Breakdown Express, how many people have submitted, and you're like, this guy looks good, this guy looks good. This man is 50 years too old for this role. You're going to get a lot of shit. Women will submit for something that's for like a 55-year-old African-American guy. People don't make sense. But you pick your actors and you schedule them by appointment. It's going to make your life a lot easier, and you're going to do it in, say, hour chunks. So you're going to give each actor a 4-minute time slot to come in with their sides for a cold read. So you'll see maybe 10 or 11 actors in an hour. And you are going to have no-shows, so you're going to find yourself twiddling your thumbs a lot. No-shows don't really make sense to me because, well, I, as the producer, I remember you. I remember your name, and oh, you're the one who didn't show up to the 2 auditions that I held. I'm not going to call you in. Because even if you do show up, you have already proven that you're not reliable. And being unreliable is a death knell for you in the business, in any business, and it should be. So you've scheduled your actors. You've got someone set up outside the door called the monitor. They're the ones who say, oh, Greg, yeah, you're listed for 1:30. Terrific. Can you just sign in? Here's your side. And then, you know, the monitor will walk them in and say, you know, hi, this is Greg. He's here to read for Will. If you can't get hold of a monitor, that's fine. Just assume that people know when one person comes out, it's their turn to go in. So you are having the auditions. This is what I have learned. Someone may give a fantastic audition, initial audition, especially if it's something that they've been able to prepare. Some people will walk into the room and knock your socks off because they are really good at auditioning. That does not mean that they will be any good in the rehearsal room. I have learned the importance of callbacks. A callback is essentially a second round job interview. Some of the really big shows have like 8 callbacks. You probably only need 1 callback, but you have to have it. And in that callback, you're going to have the director work with the actor. You're going to not allow the actor any time to prepare a scene. You're not going to allow the actor any time to prepare the scene because you have to see whether or not they are directable, whether or not they have instincts. There have been 2 cases where I've produced 2 shows and a female actor and a male actor, 2 separate instances, came in and they moved me to tears. They were so fucking good. And I didn't have callbacks. And we got into the rehearsal room. Nothing. There were no natural instincts. There were no natural instincts, no intuition, and it was like pulling teeth. You have to have callbacks. And you may end up with an actor in the role that you didn't think you were going to cast, but it turns out they're actually the right person for it, versus the one who comes and knocks your socks off and looks the role. Callbacks, callbacks, callbacks. You're going to have a reader. A reader is the person who sits off to the side of the table where, you know, the director and myself sit. And they have the sides, and when the actor comes in, they read with the reader, thereby allowing you to sit back and watch and see what's what. If you are the reader, you're going to have no perspective. Now, the most important part of this, you want to make sure that you take care of your monitor, if you have one, of your reader, and of your director. Auditions are an hours-long process, sometimes a days-long process. You have to take care of your people. You got to feed them. Bring in coffee and donuts if it starts in the morning. Make sure to order lunch. Have waters on hand. Have snacks on hand. Especially if it's volunteer. But even if it's not, take care of your people. Make sure they are fed and watered, and always make sure to acknowledge them, to recognize their help, and to thank them. And then hopefully by the end of all this, you have a cast of actors that you're happy with. And last final thing, if you've made your offer to an actor and they accept and they, before rehearsal, become difficult, don't be afraid to withdraw the offer. That's some of the best advice I've ever gotten. Don't be afraid to withdraw an offer to an actor. It's okay. It's your name on the thing, and it's in your fucking job description to be able to do that. That's it. Happy casting.